We have been led to believe that the great purpose of life is to conquer the external world, to have a company, to attain a degree, to accumulate possessions, or to climb the ladder of positions. And so, many people devote their energy to building things that time, a crisis, or an unexpected turn of events can take away in an instant. But the most valuable thing, the only thing that truly remains, is what you build within yourself, your character, your peace, your self-love. That is the work that will accompany you until your last breath. What's the point of building empires if you're empty inside? What's the point of gaining the world if you lose yourself? It's time to remember. You are your most important project. You are your most important project. Take care of it, love it, invest in yourself as if you were your greatest treasure, because you are. This doesn't mean that material things don't matter. On the contrary, tangible dreams, professional achievements, and the assets we build with effort and dedication are also part of our human experience. You deserve to prosper, to have abundance, to live in comfort, and to enjoy all the beautiful things this world has to offer. But the essential thing is to remember the order. The external world flourishes with more strength when the internal is rooted. When you choose yourself, when you value yourself, when your self-esteem becomes your solid foundation, then everything else you build will have firm foundations. It's not about giving up material things, but about not forgetting yourself in the process, because you are the origin of everything you create. There is no more powerful investment than the one made internally. Everything that is built externally, successes, relationships, material goals, will always be unstable if there is weakness, fear, or emptiness inside. The true meaning of success. Even the greatest achievements lose their meaning if the internal strength to sustain them with balance and clarity has not been developed. Your entire life is a reflection of your personal growth, your health, your relationships, your peace of mind, your abundance. Everything comes from the quality of the human being you decide to be. Anyone who desires a firm and fulfilling future must begin with themselves, because there is no project more urgent, more necessary, or more transformative than becoming the best version of yourself. When this is truly understood, life stops being a simple reaction to the environment and becomes a conscious, powerful, and deeply intentional creation. And then an irrefutable truth appears. You yourself are the only project that will last a lifetime. What's the point of conquering the world if there is no peace, clarity, or purpose within you? No matter how many external goals are achieved, how many degrees are accumulated, how much money is generated, or how much admiration is received, if internal growth does not accompany it, all of that will end up feeling hollow or will crumble over time. Sustaining your achievements. True success is born within. Only those who strengthen themselves internally can sustain what they build externally. Making yourself your best project requires you to finally let go of the idea that you are already complete. Nobody is. The one who thinks they have arrived begins to stagnate, and in this life, if you don't grow, you deteriorate. It doesn't matter your age, your achievements, or what you have been through. If you are breathing, you are under construction, and every day matters. Every thought molds your mind, every decision strengthens or weakens your foundations. You can grow or give up, expand or close yourself off, strengthen your character or let it rust. Personal growth is not optional, it is vital, because whoever doesn't work on themselves abandons themselves, and whoever abandons themselves sooner or later breaks. You are the most important masterpiece under construction in your life. You were not created to imitate or to live according to other people's molds. You came to discover yourself, to polish yourself, to consciously sculpt yourself. The power of conscious choices. Your life is not an accident. It is a sacred canvas where every decision, every thought, and every emotion becomes a brushstroke that defines you. You don't need to have everything figured out to be moving forward. What is valuable is not perfection, but the intention with which you decide to grow. Just as a work of art is revealed with each stroke, you reveal yourself with each conscious choice you make in favor of your well-being, your truth, and your freedom. As long as you are alive, you will continue to build yourself. There is no end point, only evolution. The deepest commitment you can make is with yourself. Because when you take charge of yourself, your history, your wounds, and your potential, you become a creator and not a victim. That is the true masterpiece, a human being who is awake, at peace with themselves, and in constant expansion. Louise Hay taught that all lasting change begins with an internal choice, the choice to love yourself as you are, while you work on who you can become. Self-compassion and transformation. It's not about judging yourself for what you haven't yet achieved, but about embracing yourself with compassion as you move forward. Transformation doesn't happen from criticism, but from love. You are a living creation in constant development, and every word you say about yourself, every belief you hold, is shaping your future. That's why it is so important to take care of the language you use with yourself. Affirmations are not empty phrases. They are seeds you sow in the garden of your mind, and when you water them with conviction, they become your reality. Here are 5 powerful affirmations to strengthen your internal construction. I allow myself to be my priority without guilt or justification. Every day I get closer to my best version. My worth does not depend on what I achieve, but on who I am. I have the power to transform any part of my life. I am building an identity aligned with my truth. Investing in yourself is never an expense. It's the best investment with a guaranteed return. Investing in yourself. Everything you sow in your well-being comes back multiplied in the form of clarity, energy, internal strength, and quality of life. It's not a luxury, it's a priority, because when you are well, everything else falls into place. Think about your health, for example. Eating consciously, getting enough rest, moving your body, getting checkups, going to therapy, learning to manage stress. These are not things that cost. They are acts of self-love that save you from illnesses, crises, and emotional exhaustion. What is a calm mind worth? What is it worth to have a body that responds with vitality? What you invest in yourself today, in knowledge, in care, in growth, becomes a stronger, more lucid, and more prepared version of yourself tomorrow to sustain what you desire. Because true success is not just about achieving everything, it's about being able to enjoy it from a place of internal balance. Every day is a blank page. What story are you going to write about yourself today? Are you living as the protagonist, or just repeating the script that others wrote for you? Are you making decisions that bring you closer to the person you want to be, or are you just surviving from inertia? Embracing your authenticity. Ask yourself with honesty, are you honoring your talents, or are you letting them sleep out of fear? Are you treating yourself with the same compassion you offer to others? In what part of your life are you waiting for something to change without having changed yourself first? Your life is being written now in real time, and every thought, every action, every word you choose adds another line. You can't erase the past, but you can decide today which chapter begins and gets written. Do you dare to take the pen and become the conscious author of your story? Don't abandon yourself. If you don't bet on yourself, who will? Nobody can occupy the place that belongs to you in your own life. You can receive support, love, or guidance, but the deep commitment to your growth, your healing, and your purpose can only be born from within you. You cannot delegate your worth or wait for someone to come to give you permission to flourish. Abandoning yourself isn't always immediately noticeable. Sometimes it disguises itself as procrastination, as conformity, as silences that quiet your soul. Other times it is camouflaged under the excuse of "I don't have time." The art of self-respect. While the days pass and you stay at the bottom of your own priority list, how many times have you promised yourself that one day you will choose yourself, and you are still waiting for that moment? How much longer are you going to delay what you know you deserve? It's not about selfishness, it's about emotional dignity, about understanding that you cannot give what you do not cultivate within, that no one is going to come to rescue you because you are not lost. You just need to remember that you have the power to rebuild yourself. Betting on yourself is not an act of vanity. It is a sacred act of respect for your existence. It's looking at your reflection and deciding that you deserve the best, not because you are perfect, but because you are valuable just as you are, and even more so for everything you are willing to become. Your mind is the ground. Sow loving thoughts, and you will reap greatness. What you allow to grow inside you will sooner or later manifest in your reality. Every thought you cultivate is a seed that will bear the fruit of confidence or fear, of abundance or scarcity, of love or self-criticism. Therefore, taking care of your internal dialogue is not a minor detail. It is an act of personal power, building on strong foundations. When you learn to speak to yourself with respect, when you choose thoughts that uplift you instead of limiting you, you begin to transform not only what you think but what you believe is possible for you. Your mind can be your most faithful ally or your silent saboteur. That difference depends on what you decide to sow every day. Here are 5 affirmations to nourish your inner ground. I deserve thoughts that drive me, not stop me. Today I choose to cultivate a clear, strong, and loving mind. I am free to let go of beliefs that no longer represent me. Every positive thought is an investment in my well-being. My mind works in my favor and guides me toward the best. Being your best project is not about perfection, it is about commitment to yourself. It's not about doing everything right, or about achieving an idealized image of yourself. It's about being present for yourself. Even when you fail, even when you doubt, even when you find it hard to move forward. It is easy to demand things of yourself, but the truly powerful thing is to support yourself with love in the process. The root of all success. Committing to yourself is looking at yourself with honesty and deciding that you are not going to give in to your smallest version. It is continuing to move forward, even when you don't have immediate results, because you understand that you are building something deeper than achievements. You are building character, self-esteem, and awareness. This commitment is demonstrated in the everyday, in how you talk to yourself, in the decisions you make, in what you choose to tolerate, and what you decide to let go of. It's not something you do only when you are motivated. It is a daily practice, a silent pact with yourself that says, I will not abandon myself, I will support myself. Your self-esteem is the root of everything you can build. If the root is healthy, the tree grows strong, bears fruit, and withstands storms. But if that root is wounded, weakened, or ignored, everything you try to build upon it will falter. No external achievement can sustain a broken internal identity. Therefore, the most important work is not in doing more but in believing you are worthy of receiving everything. Unconditional self-love. Love yourself unconditionally. You are enough even while you are improving. You don't need to reach the perfect version of yourself to be worthy of respect, love, or rest. You can grow and at the same time value yourself for who you already are. Loving yourself doesn't mean conforming. It means that your growth doesn't come from rejection, but from recognition. When you validate yourself from within, you stop needing external approval. Your life begins to take a different direction, one that is more coherent, firmer, and freer, because self-love is not a prize you give yourself when you achieve everything. It is the foundation from which you begin to build everything. You are not your mistakes, you are what you choose to do after them. Your falls do not define your worth, nor do your failures negate your essence. Making mistakes is part of the human process, but getting up with awareness is part of the process of evolution. Errors are not punishments. They are mirrors. They show you what you still need to learn, heal, or transform. Rebuilding with love. Sometimes we carry guilt for years for decisions we can no longer change, but continuing to drag the past is another form of self-abandonment. What defines you is not what you did in a moment of unconsciousness, but what you choose now with more clarity, more maturity, and more truth. The important thing is not that you have fallen, but that you choose not to stay there. When you give yourself permission to learn instead of punishing yourself, you become someone who rebuilds themselves with love, and that is much more valuable than perfection. It is power. It is humility. It is awakened humanity. Make your daily routine an act of self-respect, not as a rigid list of duties, but as a dance between intention and care. Routine is not a prison. It is a structure that, when well chosen, can sustain your expansion, because every small action you repeat daily molds not only your body and mind, but your deepest identity. The morning is your daily rebirth. Don't wake up running or fleeing from the clock as if life were chasing you. Creating a conscious existence. Open your eyes with presence. Take a deep breath. If you can, spend a few minutes in silence before giving yourself to the world. Make your first thought an affirmation that reminds you of your power, your worth, and your intention for the day. Drink water, move your body, and honor the miracle of being alive. The way you start the day is the emotional root from which everything else will branch out. In the afternoon, when the external world gains strength, remind yourself that you are still the center. Don't disconnect from yourself to attend to emergencies that are sometimes not even your own. Eat slowly, stretch your shoulders, clear your mind for 5 minutes if you need to. Remember that you also have the right to enjoy yourself in the midst of duty. A brief walk, music that inspires you, a conversation that nourishes you. These are small gestures that feed your balance. It's not all about productivity. You are also here to feel alive. And when night comes, make the end of the day a sacred act. Don't take pending tasks or toxic thoughts to bed with you. Rest is not just physical, it's emotional and mental. Turn off screens, light a candle. Your life is a masterpiece. Write down what you learned today. Be grateful for what you achieved, even if it's small. Forgive yourself if you failed. Let go, breathe. Give yourself up to rest, with the certainty that you have honored your process without demands, but with commitment. Self-respect is not just in big decisions, it's in the everyday. It's in how you feed yourself, how you manage your spaces, how you respond when something hurts or tires you. It's in choosing routines that not only keep you going, but that bring you back to yourself, because at the end of the day, what you repeat becomes what you are. And if every part of your day is impregnated with self-love, with presence, and with intention, then you are not living on autopilot. You are consciously building a life that resembles your truth. Decide. Every small habit is a brick in your project. Do not underestimate the everyday, because that is where the structure of your future is being forged without you noticing. It is not the big isolated decisions that build your life, but the small, constant, and often invisible gestures that you repeat every day. Making space for the new. Every time you choose to get up, at the time you said, that you feed your body with consciousness, that you say no to what doesn't nourish you, or yes to what challenges you, you are laying one more brick. And every time you procrastinate, you sabotage yourself, you give in to impulse or distraction, you are also building, but something fragile, something that doesn't represent you, something that can collapse with the first wind. Your life is a work in progress, and you are both the architect and the builder. Every habit is a vote for the person you are deciding to be. Therefore, even if it seems insignificant to read a few pages, do 10 minutes of exercise or breathe deeply before reacting. Everything counts. Everything adds up. Don't wait to have motivation to act. Expect results from commitment, not from enthusiasm. Because when you understand that your greatness is made of minimal actions repeated with intention, then you stop looking for shortcuts and you start building with deep roots. Make space for your new version. Let go of what no longer resonates with you. You cannot move toward the new if you insist on carrying what has already expired. Releasing the old. Personal evolution requires internal cleansing, conscious detachment, and above all the courage to close chapters even if they hurt, not because they are bad, but because they no longer represent you. Let go of the need to please everyone if that means betraying yourself. Let go of the self-demand that tells you that it is never enough. Let go of habits that steal your energy, that draining routine, that conversation that always ends the same way, that thought that sabotages you as soon as you get up. Sometimes you also have to let go of places, jobs, relationships, not with anger but with gratitude and maturity, because there are cycles that fulfill their purpose, and clinging to them only delays your growth. Make space in your schedule for yourself. Make space in your body to feel. Make space in your house by getting rid of what you no longer use, because the environment also speaks of who you are becoming. Make space in your mind by stopping the repetition of old stories about who you were. If you don't give yourself permission to let go, life will not be able to give you the new. The power of self-acceptance. Transforming is not just about learning, it is also about unlearning. It's not just about adding, it's about choosing what you no longer need to carry, because every time you let go of something that no longer resonates with you, you become lighter, more authentic, and freer. And that freedom is the door to your new version. No one else has the power to build your life. Only you can. You can receive support, advice, love, even financial help. But the responsibility of shaping your existence is completely yours. No one else feels what you feel, dreams what you dream, or carries what you keep quiet. Therefore, waiting for another person to come to save you, motivate you, or validate you is a subtle way of giving up your power. It is you who decides every day whether to stay in the version you already know or to risk building something new. It is you who chooses whether to repeat the wound or to begin healing it, whether to stay in what is safe or to launch yourself toward what you truly desire. The freedom to choose. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can always choose how to respond and what to do with what life gives you. And that is the most liberating thing. You don't need permission to start. You can reinvent yourself at any age, from anywhere, no matter what others expect of you. The path will not be perfect, but it will be yours. And when you take the reins, when you decide that your life is a work that you deserve to direct with consciousness, something deep aligns within you. You regain strength, you find direction. And if today you decide to stop waiting for something to change and you start to change it yourself, you did not come to this life to survive, but to create an extraordinary existence. You are not here just to meet deadlines, pay bills, or repeat what is expected of you. You came with a higher purpose, to experiment, to grow, to love, to transform yourself, to leave a mark. Routine can put the soul to sleep. If you forget that every day is an opportunity to create something different, something more aligned with who you truly are. A revolutionary act of self-love. Surviving is functioning on autopilot, slowly putting out your inner light. Creating an extraordinary existence is choosing to turn it on even if it hurts, even if it's hard, even if you are afraid. It is stopping living by inertia and starting to live with intention. You don't need to do great things, you need to do what you do with greatness, to put presence, love, and authenticity into every step. Your life becomes extraordinary, not because of what you accumulate, but because of what you allow yourself to feel, to let go of, and to build. Every time you choose yourself, every time you make a decision faithful to your truth, every time you transform a limiting thought into an expansive belief, you are creating something that transcends. You are creating life from the soul. You are here for more. Are you willing to remember it? Becoming your best version is a revolutionary act of self-love. Because in a world that pushes you to compare yourself, to hide what you feel, to fit into other people's molds, choosing yourself with firmness, with presence, and with compassion is a brave act. The power of internal validation. It's not about becoming perfect or becoming an unattainable idea of success. It's about looking at yourself with truth and deciding that you are no longer going to continue living from fear, from lack, or from personal abandonment. When you choose yourself, everything changes, not because the world changes, but because you change. Your energy rises, your boundaries strengthen, your decisions stop being born from need and begin to emerge from dignity. Your relationships are transformed. You no longer seek approval, you seek real connection. You no longer accept what diminishes you, but what honors you. Choosing yourself means stopping begging for what you can give yourself. Attention, care, validation, love. And when you give it to yourself, everything around you begins to align with that new frequency. The greatest work of art you will create is not outside, it is inside of you. It is not a company, or a house, or a perfect body. It is the person you become when you decide to live with consciousness. The path to healing. That version of you that doesn't act from the wound, but from healing, that doesn't respond from reactivity, but from clarity. That version that doesn't need masks because it feels at peace with who it is, and that inspires effortlessly because its energy speaks for itself. Creating your best version is a continuous process, but every step you take toward it is a declaration of self-love. And that love, when it is true, becomes the most powerful force to transform your life from the inside out. What if you stopped running from yourself and started building yourself from love? What if instead of demanding so much of yourself, you started to accompany yourself? What if instead of continuing to run from silence, you dared to truly listen to yourself? Many times the greatest conflict is not in what happens outside, but in the silent war you carry inside. We run away by being overly busy, filling ourselves with noise, covering voids with goals, distractions, or people who don't heal us. But all of that is an escape, and no escape builds. It only postpones the inevitable, which is meeting yourself. Your value is intrinsic. Building yourself from love doesn't mean ignoring what hurts. It means looking at it with respect, understanding that you are not your past story and that you can choose a new way of narrating yourself. It means stopping punishing yourself for who you were and starting to recognize the immense value of who you can become. You don't need perfection to deserve your own care. You only need to decide. So, ask yourself, what would happen if today you chose to be your safe place? What would change if you started treating yourself as you would treat someone you love deeply? What if you stopped demanding to change out of hatred for who you are and started to grow out of love for who you can become? That's where the real transformation begins. Not in judgment, but in tenderness. Not in escape, but in encounter. Not in struggle, but in commitment to your truth. You don't need external validation when your soul already knows who you are, because when that internal certainty awakens, everything changes. Living your truth. You stop living based on what others think. You stop molding yourself to fit in. You stop sacrificing your authenticity for temporary approval. Validation that comes from outside can be fleeting, volatile, and self-serving. But the validation that is born from within is firm, silent, and transformative. When you recognize yourself from the soul, you give yourself permission to walk differently. Judgment no longer paralyzes you. What people say no longer stops you. Rejection no longer destroys you, because you know that your worth does not depend on applause, labels, or comparisons. Your value is intrinsic. It was born with you, and it cannot be measured by external standards. Accepting it is an act of spiritual maturity. It is stopping the search for mirrors and starting to inhabit your real reflection. There will be people who will pass through your life without seeing you. There will be people who will not understand your process, your choices, your way of feeling. And that's okay. You didn't come to be understood by everyone. You came to be consistent with yourself. Building your legacy. The world can change its mind at every turn, but you cannot allow yourself to change your essence just to please. When you choose yourself from the root, a freedom is born that cannot be negotiated, a quiet strength, a firm presence. You become the owner of your story, a walker of your purpose, an inhabitant of your truth. And then you no longer need to convince anyone, because the peace you built inside becomes more valuable than any external gaze. Make yourself your refuge, your engine, your most conscious creation. No one is going to live for you. No one is going to feel for you. No one is going to build you from the outside. That work is yours, and it is also your privilege. Choosing yourself, taking care of yourself, and transforming yourself is not selfishness. It is the beginning of everything else. How are you today? How do you really feel? Do you think this video is going to help you feel more energized, more clarity, more focused on yourself? I'd love for you to share in the comments. How are you going to start seeing your life from now on? What are you going to change? What are you going to let go of? What are you going to start building? Thank you for being here, for giving yourself this space, for being part of this community. This is a channel where no one is judged, where we are all in process, in search, in transformation. You are not alone. There are many of us who choose to improve, and here we walk together with respect, consciousness, and truth. If this content helped you, I invite you to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it. Together we are building a solid space for growth and real support. And remember this powerful phrase from Louise Hay: everything is fine. Everything is working out for your highest good. Beyond this situation there is only well-being. You are safe. I send you a strong hug full of strength, presence, and hope.